Well, good afternoon. My name is Marvin Lindsay. I'm the senior pastor at First Presbyterian Church in Columbia.
And I'm Robert Newman. I'm the leader of Youth and Media Ministries at First Presbyterian Church.
Now, today is Wednesday, so I'm pretty proud of myself, Robert, because I've already got my sermon largely written. Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty awesome.
That's impressive.
But we want to give folks a preview of what's going to happen on Sunday, and so we're going to do this by way of Stump the Preacher. So Robert's going to ask me a question. I have not heard the question about the gospel lesson that we're going to be hearing worship this Sunday, and I will flounder my way through an answer. And in doing so, we will know a little bit more about. I may even have to rewrite my sermon after this. So
we'll see if I stump you enough.
All right. So we're preaching. So I'm going to be preaching on John 20 verses 19 to 31, when Jesus comes to the disciples after he's been raised from the dead, and then later. A week later, he reveals himself to doubting Thomas. So take it away. What question do you have for me today?
Well, so my first question is, why does Thomas get such a bad rap? Why is he labeled doubting and skeptical? Because the resurrection was pretty unbelievable. All he wants to do is see it for himself.
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, because all his friends got to see it for themselves.
Exactly.
And so maybe we've been unfair to Thomas. You know, earlier in the Gospel of John, Jesus predicts his death, and Thomas, he says, I have to go to Jerusalem and die. So Thomas says, well, let's go and die with him.
Right.
So why isn't he courageous, Thomas? I don't know. I guess one reason is because doubt has a bad rap. And, you know, Jesus does say, stop doubting, but believe. So he sort of contrasts doubt and belief, or doubt and faith. But I think I tend to think that doubt and faith kind of go together, because I think the opposite of faith is like certainty or even presumption, you know, and faith is the assurance of things hoped for. The scriptures say elsewhere, the conviction of things that are not seen. And I think that always entails a certain amount of doubt. So maybe Thomas is. Maybe we're hard on Thomas because maybe we're projecting a little bit. You know, maybe we, don't want to be honest about our own doubts in the life of faith, and so we kind of give Thomas a hard time. But I think doubt is part and parcel of the Christian faith until we do see Christ face to face. Yeah.
I like that. My second question was kind of along the same lines. All the disciples, including Thomas, are given this luxury of being able to see the resurrected Jesus. We don't have that same luxury. So what does that mean for our faith?
Okay, so all right, so this is actually going to be the topic for next week's sermon.
Oh,
so not this week's sermon because next week's sermon is about the resurrection appearance of Jesus to the disciples in Luke, and it's kind of the same thing. He's like, look here, look at my hands, look at my feet, and then he like even eats some fish, to kind of prove to them that he's like he's embodied, that he's not just a ghost. And so there's this weird thing where they get like empirical, tangible proof of the resurrection, but we don't. We get we get the message that he's been raised. And I was starting to toy with something. I don't know. I was thinking about okay, I'm going to get in trouble now because I'm going to talk about science, and so there's these scientists in our congregation. They've forgotten more about science than me, a humanities
maybe we can
major,
stump
will
the
ever know.
scientist.
Maybe, but one thing is that there is an element, I don't think you can contrast faith versus scientific knowledge, because there's an element of trust in scientific knowledge. I haven't run all the experiments that show that smoking cigarettes causes cancer, or that show that there's there's a strong, weak electromagnetic and gravity. I don't, but I do trust the people who have run those experiments, and so I think in a similar way, we don't have empirical proof of the resurrection, but we trust the reports of people who had that experience, and so I think there's a kind of a similarity there. The other thing is, even like in the Luke passage, Jesus, it says, while in their joy they were still disbelieving.
Right.
So I think one thing is the resurrection is such a huge event. I mean, we have matter freed from entropy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have a dead person come back to life. I think there's still like that's just so unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I think even in even faced with tangible proof, they still struggle to believe. It's just so big.
Mhm.
So, yeah, maybe as long as we live in this earth, maybe we have more or less experience of the risen Christ. But for everybody, there's an element of faith involved.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
All
yeah.
right.
Are you gonna be here Sunday?
I am going to be here Sunday,
Okay.
of course, at
All
9 and 11.
Okay, all right, yeah, and we hope that you'll be here this Sunday as well. There's also at 11 o'clock we are receiving new members and observing the sacrament of baptism, so that's going to be exciting.
Great.
And great music at both services. So join us for worship this Sunday morning at 16 Hit Street.